Members Brzezinski, Witherspoon, Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop. Mr. Nelson is attending via Zoom.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes from the July 16th, 2025 City Council meeting and bills for payment August 8th and 15, 2025. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon.
At 9:30, we will have a public hearing. And at whatever point we are, we'll stop and take care of that, and then we'll return back to citizens to be heard. Okay. Lori, we want to do the presentation.
Mayor's mid-year report.
Let's do that. Mayor's mid-year report. Mayor?
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here with you today, and good morning to all my City Council colleagues and everyone who's here as well. I'm very proud to report this morning that our mid-year finances are in very good shape. This year, my team and I will complete our 8th and final year in office. My presentation today will be brief at a high level, but Lisa Gomersall, who's here, will provide much more detail later this morning at the Finance Committee meeting immediately following your City Council meeting. Everything my team and I have done in the last 8 years has been based on two things. First is our 6-word mission: build opportunity, restore hope, and transform Erie. And second is our 2-sentence vision for Erie, which is Erie is a community of choice, and we celebrate 5 things: our rich cultural diversity, our welcoming, vibrant neighborhoods, our world-class downtown and bayfront, our excellent education for everyone, and our abundance of good family-sustaining jobs. My team and I continue to work hard every day to continue to make this mission and vision a reality here in Erie. We appreciate your help for it, too. Each year, we will provide ourselves with our realistic budgets. Today, I will briefly review the financial report for the first 6 months of 2025. You have a total of 12 pages with you already that contain 5 reports on the city's 5 major budgets: the general fund, the sewer fund, refuse, golf, and stormwater. The first 8 pages of the general fund report that you have, you will notice the first page that our expenditures are expected to come in nearly $4.1 million under budget. Overtime was higher than budgeted in January in the Department of Public Works due to the weather conditions that were happening at that time. Harsher weather conditions also resulted in more equipment repair parts and servicing the initially budgeted. However, this is offset by salaries and benefits in many departments being lower than budgeted because of delays in filling a lot of the vacancies. Revenues were difficult to project this year due to issues that we had with the county's tax billing. This resulted in the city of Erie tax bills being mailed out later than usual in order to accommodate our residents. You will recall that we agreed to extend our due date, which delayed all the collections. The Treasurer's Office is still behind in posting payments, which make projecting our annual revenues a real challenge this year. The good news is that a result of the projections coming in under budget. Though we had budgeted $4,297,685 in the water lease prepayment fund to help balance the 2025 budget, we are now forecasting that we will not need to use only about $1,685,748 in those funds to balance the budget. This will leave a balance of $4,964,399 in the fund for future years. You can see more detail in the revenues on page 2 through 5 and in the expenditures on pages 6 through 8. A quick way to review that section is to look at the last column for major variances over what had been projected in the 12/31/25 budget, which is shown in the first column. Now, let's move to the 4 other budgets quickly in the last 4 pages that you have. First is the sewer fund. As you can see, the sewer fund has a surplus of $404,565. This is the first year of the new Rafitis rate structure, which has been increased along with the bond issue, which will allow us to implement planted infrastructure repairs. Second is the refuse fund, where there will be a projected surplus of $45,649 in order to cover costs and maintain capital. It will be important to implement incremental annual increases going forward for us. Third is the golf fund, which is stable with projected surplus of $24,695. And finally, the stormwater fee, where we are projecting a surplus of $190,946. This fund is being built up to handle emergencies and to proactively maintain our stormwater infrastructure. As we wrap up our second term, my team and I will be taking everything we learned these last 8 years and working with a consultant to develop a 5-year management plan to guide our city's budgeting for the next 5 years. As always, I remain committed to being open, honest, transparent, and accessible with you and everyone in Erie, including when discussing the city's budget. I look forward to working together these next 5 months with you to put the city on the strongest financial footing it's possible for us to do. That concludes my overview of the 2025 mid-year finance report. You will get much more detail in this report later this morning from Lisa. Lisa and I will be happy to answer any questions you have right now. We look forward to presenting the 2026 budget to you in about 2 months and working with you to create the best, most productive 2026 through 2030 budget for the city of Erie. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have any questions for the mayor? Any questions from council? Hearing none. Lori?
Okay, so we should get out of the way, I guess. Thank you. That's all yours.
Do we have anyone here for a repository sale? Anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Anyone to speak on a repository sale? Having none, we'll move into public comments.
We ask you to give us your name and your municipality. Please speak into the mic. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, hello. My name is Marcus Jacobs, and I am the Borough Manager of Wesleyville, and I am here with...
My name is Spencer Cadden. I'm the Township Manager for Lawrence Park Township.
Today we'll be talking to you a little bit about the MPO voting structure changes that have been proposed. We do have a little handout for you here, so if you, we'll make sure each of you gets this. But in general, the MPO, it's the Metropolitan Planning Organization. It is an often forgotten about organization that really has a lot of influence on the transportation activity that goes on in our region here. So a couple examples, all the stuff that's happening down there on the Bayfront, a lot of that was federal money and everything, so they had a big hand in that. The Coqua Bridge rebuilding, that was a thing that flowed through the MPO. So the MPO really impacts our physical built environment in many ways. And to put it simply, right now, this voting structure that they have proposed will effectively take away 1/3 of the city's votes. It'll take away Lawrence Park's, it'll take away Wesleyville's, and even the airport will lose a vote. A transportation agency, the airport, is losing their vote. So just to kind of go over, the broad mission of the MPO addresses all forms of transportation. And this is why the airport has a rule, and this is why the EMTA has a rule. It is not just about roads, it's not just about cars. But they've undertaken this bylaws and voting structure adjustment. And honestly, the bylaws adjustments that they've made are very reasonable. They're just verbiage changes for the most part. That's all fine. But they've also tacked on this voting structure adjustment. And in the process of that, we're going to be losing representation.
Yeah, and I think it's important to emphasize that it's, the city is losing 1/3 of their representation under this proposed changes. Essentially, right now, the city has 6 votes in this organization, which again does allocate federal resources to road, sidewalk, greenway trails, essentially things people use on a daily basis to get places. Right now, the city has a significant contribution to that. And then Westerville and Lawrence Park, we each have 1 vote, which we would be losing altogether under the proposal.
Yeah, and let's talk about the proposed model. So what they're looking at doing is basing it off of vehicle miles traveled, which, I had no idea what that really was, and quite honestly, it's abstract, it's complex, and it's hard to calculate.
It is, and it's not federally or statutorily required. There's no state or federal mandate that we use this formula. This formula has been concocted locally.
Yeah, I asked how they calculated it, because when they gave us a number and they said, this is exactly how many vehicle miles traveled Wesleyville has, or Lawrence Park, or here's exactly how many the city has. I said, well, did you count every vehicle on every road in the city? And they, well, there's a formula that we do and base it off of calculations, and I don't know, I didn't really love that that's what our basis is for this model. Again, it's hard to wrap our heads around. Also, it punishes efficiency. So municipalities that have people that prioritize, sidewalks or bike paths or public transportation, they don't count towards vehicle miles traveled, and you're being punished for that when it comes to representation on the MPO. Also, it's kind of inconsistently applied, because some of us are getting our votes allocated based off of vehicle miles traveled, but then other ones like the county or the EMTA or ECATO or ECAB, ECATO's the Association for Townships or the Association for Boroughs, or the Council of Government, the Erie Area Council of Government. All of these entities get a vote in this proposal, even though they don't own a single mile of road whatsoever. So it's inconsistently applied. But if we take a step back and we ask, what problem are we trying to solve here? The current structure that is in use by the MPO functions just fine. Even when there's been contentious votes that have come up, generally after discussion, people come to a consensus, and then good transportation projects get funded. That's just what has happened. And there was, it's a majority, or even to a point of almost being unanimous when things get to that point. So there's really no pressure for us to necessitate this change. But the other thing is, when they're proposing a model in transportation, I know in the borough we did a traffic light study on one intersection. They ended up proposing to us 3 different alternatives. But then now, when we're looking at a voting structure, there's only one proposed model brought forward. We would argue that we should think about this a little bit more thoroughly. We should be presented multiple potential alternatives for how our votes get distributed, and then we'll see the pros and cons of each. Also, over history, originally it was the city, Wesleyville, and Lawrence Park were in this organization. And then over the past 6 decades, it's been expanded. Over that time, when it has been expanded, representation has never been taken away. It's always been given, so I don't see why it's being taken now. So,
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa Bear, and I'm from Mill Creek. With me today are my daughter and my nephew. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with you. We are here to ask for your help in saving our zoo. I have lived in the area all my life, coming to the zoo as a child myself, then bringing my own children, my nephews, and hopefully someday, with your help, my grandchildren. While my children's favorite part was always getting to see the animals and learn about them, they also enjoyed many hands-on classes and events like the egg hunt, Zoo Boo, and the Christmas Zoolumination. Growing up here, I watched the zoo expand and develop from basically cages to beautiful exhibits. The zoo is a unique opportunity we have in the Erie area that accommodates all ages and allows us to visit for a few hours or spend an entire day. We are fortunate to have it right here, where we don't have to travel a couple of hours every time we want to enjoy seeing the animals.
Hello, my name is Heather Bear from Mill Creek Township. The Erie Zoo has been an important establishment in our community since 1930. Generations of families have walked its paths, having the opportunity to learn about creatures big and small, from far away or close to home. I cannot imagine a fall without Zoo-Boo, an event that I attended in costume as a child, volunteered at as a teenager, and still enjoy as an adult going with my younger cousins. The Erie Zoo is a place for community. It is a place where families and friends can gather to learn about other species, like my favorite river otters, reflect on our similarities, the roles we all play in a dependent ecosystem, and grow an appreciation for the importance of all life on Earth. It takes a village, and supporting the Erie Zoo is an important way we can support our community.
Hi, my name is Remy Marshall, and I live in Harbor Creek. I have grown up going to the zoo all 13 years of my life. Specifically this year, I've been getting more involved with the zoo by attending the Junior Zookeeper Camp, and starting on the 8th, I will be volunteering at the zoo. At my family's donut shop, I started a fundraiser selling Daffin's chocolate bars to sponsor animals at the zoo, and so far I've sponsored 3 animals. I'm thrilled that the zoo is still getting new and exciting animals like the binturong and the two-toed sloth. One day I hope to become a zookeeper and be able to work with my favorite animal, the Eurasian lynx, at the Erie Zoo. The Erie Zoo is important to me, my family, and the Erie community. I hope that you all take this into consideration and do everything you can to save our zoo. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Ruko Jancy. I reside in Lawrence Park, and I am the president and CEO of the zoo. Good morning, council members. Thank you for your leadership as you bring forward 2 resolutions today in support of the zoo. We are deeply grateful for your recognition of the zoo's generational role in this community as a place of education, connection, and civic pride. We are here today to urge you to support the Erie Events transfer, which will ultimately secure its future. Approval of the transfer of ownership of the zoo to Erie Events is its only hope. The city just doesn't have the resources or expertise to make a go of it. It's too late. The time to patch the holes with one-time funding was 3 years ago when we approached the administration for help. We appreciate the intent behind the city's proposed resolution to provide $500,000 annually along with select support, but it is not the most sustainable path forward. Erie's budget is already stretched thin, and future administrations may not be in a position or be willing to maintain this commitment. By contrast, partnering with Erie Events would provide the zoo a reliable operational foundation backed by proven expertise. When paired with the passion and experience of our zoo team, many of the team is here today, this partnership would stabilize operations, address critical infrastructure, and allow us to plan for the future with confidence. For our staff, it means better pay, increased staffing, and improved facilities. For our community, it means a stronger, more resilient zoo, capable of adapting, growing, and continuing to serve Erie and the region for generations to come. Beyond the zoo itself, this partnership offers the opportunity to elevate the entire zoo campus, from the ice rink to the golf course in Glenwood Park, transforming it into a central park for Erie. These public spaces would not be lost, but enhanced with security upgrades, improved amenities, and thoughtful integration into a unified modern campus. This is a true public partnership, the city providing the land, Erie Events bringing resources and expertise, and us all working together to preserve a beloved institution. This is not only about saving the zoo, it's about building something remarkable for future generations. On a personal note, I stand humbly before you today with just a few years of leadership under my belt and with the eyes of the community upon me. I stand here because I love this zoo, and the people who stand behind me deserve better. Our animal residents depend on the entire zoo team, who are dedicated and underpaid. This zoo is worthy of the resources Erie Events can offer. We will always be the Erie Zoo. Today, I urge you to consider Erie without the zoo. Your vote makes the zoo possible for the next 100 years. With this partnership and your leadership, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create something remarkable for our animals, our staff, our city, and all who walk through our gates. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name's Rick Carr, City of Erie. On behalf of the veterans, I'm not sure if the City Council has considered this. If you would consider honoring veterans in the City of Erie, like on the telephone poles or whatever, like they do in Wesleyville, Northeast, Girard, all the communities all around us, they've been doing that for years, and I don't remember ever seeing Erie doing that. And I think it would speak well for the city if they would consider doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good point.
Hello, council members. My name is Warren Schreffler, and I am from Mill Creek. I scheduled a day off from work today for vacation just to give you my opinion on the zoo. I am here to advocate for the transfer to Erie Events. I am a zoo volunteer since 2007. In my 18 years, I have talked to thousands of zoo guests from all over the place, from near and far, even from California and Florida. Zoos are extremely popular. This region cannot afford to lose a wonderful opportunity to improve our zoo. So, option 2, the transfer to Erie Events, is the only long-term solution that I see to really help the zoo thrive. Why? Because Erie Events is incredibly successful in their track record with the venues that they do run. And our region is a tourist destination, and their stated mission on their website is to boost the local economy and create lifetime memories for everyone with world-class facilities and entertainment. It is time to let Erie Events help to make the zoo a world-class zoo, providing wonderful memories for all ages. The best part is that no local tax dollars support Erie Events or any of their facilities. In contrast, the City of Erie's proposal seems like an undue financial burden on city residents. Therefore, I am advocating for a unanimous yes vote on option 2, transferring the zoo to Erie Events. I believe tomorrow's visitors, the entire Erie region, and future generations will thank you. In closing, please vote to transfer the zoo to Erie Events, and thank you, council members, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for hearing me. Peggy Seib is my name. Mill Creek Township is where I live. I have been a docent at the zoo for 10.5 years, and docent means we get to teach. So the benefit that is for me, it puts me on the grounds with my boots on. I get to speak with many guests over the years, and one of the very first comments I get from almost everyone is how beautiful the landscaping is, how beautiful the flowers are, and how well it's put together. One of my second most common comment is that besides where are the elephants, is that the zoo is a perfect size for a family with small children. You don't have to get overwhelmed and have to spend an entire long day there and being overstressed, overtired. So it's a win-win for all families. Even if you're too busy, you still can have the fun time with the kids in a short period of time. I'm speaking now about the zookeepers here. The zookeepers certainly love their animals. They know their personalities, their traits. They know what foods they'll eat first. And I know if one passes away, they mourn for that animal. You can clearly see it's a very big loss. And when one of them is sick, I know very sick, there's keepers that will spend the nights there just to keep an eye on the animals. Then it's very important, because I like to teach, as my passion for an education and conservation, our education department does a great job of making summer camp programs for all age levels and for classes throughout the year for the smaller children. I too believe that if you can get a child interested at a young age, you'll keep them engaged probably for a lifetime. These kids also know what endangered animal means, what causes the endangerment to the animals, the loss of their habitat, and how to help cut that back on their carbon footprint. They know complete cycle of my monarch butterflies, and they even are helpful in letting, I help them tag them and release them. They get to name them and send them off to Mexico. They're even getting their parents to plant milkweed at home, which is huge. We have to do things like this to help these animals that are endangered survive. If our zoo staff and volunteers aren't there to teach them these important things, how will they learn them? From a book? Where is the passion there? This is why I implore you to transfer the zoo to the Erie events before it's too late, because you don't know what you got till you don't have it. And by the way, if you want to know the difference between a monkey or an ape, see me afterwards. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. President, can
Yes.
I take a minute for a commercial? As long as we have all these Mill Creek people here, and we love you, go to your Mill Creek board and advocate for money for the zoo. You folks use it. It's a regional asset. Help the zoo that way also. We're going to do everything we can. You know that. But the other people have to put your money where your mouth is. I'm done.
Mr. President, it's 9:30.
Oh, is it 9:30?
Am I good?
Let's take a break for a minute.
All right.
Okay, yes, it's 9:30, we have a public hearing.
Do you want me to read it? Okay, our public hearing, that the City Council of the City of Erie will hold a public hearing to consider the renewal of the non-exclusive cable television franchise agreement with Spectrum Northeast LLC Charter Communications. Spectrum Charter, this hearing is being conducted pursuant to Section 626 of the Federal Cable Communications Policy Act of 1984 to review Spectrum Charter's performance under its current franchise agreement, identify the future cable-related needs and interests of the Erie community, and determine whether the city should proceed with the renewal of the franchise agreement. Solicitor?
Does anybody wish to offer any testimony regarding Spectrum Charter's ability to provide cable service to the city of Erie? Last call. With that, that will conclude the public hearing.
Thank you, sir. And we'll continue with public comments.
Morning. My name is Tyler Gruskevich. I work in the horticulture department of the Erie Zoo. I've been there about a year and a half. And of course, being a small nonprofit, we do a whole lot of things that aren't necessarily horticulture in the bargain. We build cat towers and jaguar exhibits and fix concrete, along with weed whacking, mowing, watering. And on any given day, there's about 20 things to do, and we have time to do maybe 4, and that's the game we play. And we're doing our best to hold the place together. From what I understand, and I preface this that I'm probably not as informed as I could be or should be. The 2 proposals you have in front of you are not necessarily mutually exclusive, but at least picking between the 2. My money tends to be on Erie events. From what I understand, I kind of compare the zoo to somebody bleeding out. Both proposals will stabilize that patient and in the immediate term, but then that patient's going to need years of physical therapy to run a marathon again. And I'm just not sure that the city has the resources and ability within itself to fill the gap that Erie Events can. I at least look around at the ballpark and the Warner Theater and the convention center, and that seems like a good resume. And having seen the pale white underbelly of the zoo, if you will, there's parts that are old. They're rusting, paint's chipping, and we're doing our best, but the zoo needs a Warner Theater treatment, in my opinion. And yeah, cutting us a fat check will balance the books in the short term, but then there's the long term to think about. Yeah, staffing, wages for staff, capital improvements. And I guess I like the idea of perhaps folks in Erie Events, they bring a little bit of optimistic vision and ideas to the table. So I don't know that it's the magic bullet that the zoo needs, but frankly, it seems like the best shot we got. And if it doesn't work out, at least let us know so that we have time to find other jobs. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, I'm Darren Julius. I'm from the city of Erie, grew up here. I've been a zookeeper at the Erie Zoo for about 8 years now. So in 2022, the Erie Zoo had an economic impact study done where the zoo creates over $21 million in economic impact for the city of Erie. They also support and sustain over 200 jobs in the city of Erie. They also have over 400 animals, most of which are endangered or critically endangered. So not allowing us to go with Erie Events over the city's offer would put in jeopardy those animals' conservation both in zoos and in the wild. So zoos are here for insurance colonies for the wild because we all know that's disappearing year after year after year. So you guys would be putting in jeopardy the memories that were already formed there or could be formed there. You'd be putting in jeopardy over 200 jobs. And then we all know city budgets change. So come budget cut time, that $500,000 the city is promising could get cut. Erie Events is much more sustainable. We've seen, as Tyler said, what they have done with the Warner Theater and all of their properties and stuff that they manage. They bring a ton of economic impact to the city of Erie also. And I think renovating the zoo in many different ways and allowing us to go with them could actually bring in tons more money for the zoo in terms of tourism, which is what basically this town is built off of. So I encourage you guys to give the zoo to Erie Events, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm JJ Pemberton. I live in Sagertown but work in the Erie Zoo. I'm speaking today to support the transfer to Erie Events for the Erie Zoo. I have several reasons for that. First off, we need a sustainable source of funding. The $500,000 that the city's offering is absolutely wonderful. I mean, we're a nonprofit. Of course, we'll take any, money that someone wants to give us. But a large reason why we unfortunately lost our AZA accreditation was that we did not have a sustainable, regular source of funding. And now that we're looking at getting back the accreditation, we want to have that sustainable source of funding. That's very important to us. Also, the work we do there is very important. I grew up in an area quite similar to Erie. I had to drive about 2.5 hours to my zoo because a lot of cities this size don't have a zoo, so what we have here is pretty unique. The work we do is very important. We have various programs saving different species, the jobs we provide. So again, I appreciate, the public forum, and again, urge you to, vote in support of transferring to Erie Events. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jen Highfill, and I'm a resident of the city of Erie. I'm here not only as a longtime volunteer and current employee of the Erie Zoo's Education Department, but also as someone who has been coming to the zoo for the better part of 50 years. And I'd like to ask you to vote in support of the transfer to Erie Events. More than that, however, I'm here to represent Toby, George, Bill, Minnie, Max, Otis, Micah, Hansel, and Lucas, some of our more than 400 animals here at the zoo, as they cannot be here to speak for themselves. I am also here to help represent Bonnie, Christine, Heather, Kim, Haley, Amy, Casey, Lisa, Jeff, Darren, Carrie, Robert, Suzanne, and Marilyn, several members of our dozens of dedicated staff and keepers, some of whom have been with the zoo for more than 30 years, and our dozens of teen and adult volunteers and seasonal camp staff who help ensure the day-to-day operations of our facility. What our zoo provides cannot be measured in just numbers. Not only do we provide care for the animals in our keeping, we are also a tremendous community asset. We provide all people with the opportunity to experience animals they might otherwise only see on TV, to encounter, to learn about, and to enjoy the wild beauty around us. Our education programs, both on-site and within the community, reach thousands of people every year, not only here at the zoo in the city of Erie, but also from the surrounding areas. We offer classes, zoo school, summer camps, and many other programs that reach kids from infants to teens, helping to foster what we hope will be a lifelong love of animals. Our on-site touch table exhibits, behind-the-scenes tours, and animal meet and greets allow kids and adults a more informative and intimate encounter with our beloved residents. We also take great pride in our conservation efforts, funded by the sale of buttons and magnets, as well as donations from people who see and appreciate what we are trying to do. In the past, the Erie Zoo had the best red panda and Amur leopard breeding programs in the country under the auspices of the Species Survival Act. Our small town zoo was able to do that. But our greatest proof of what we can do can be seen in our patrons. The absolute unbridled excitement of a child seeing a spider monkey swinging around her enclosure, or watching an otter dive into its pool. The adults who smile and light up with memories of all their own visits throughout the years. The chance for a special bonding time between family members, whether here for their first visit or their 300th. We hope to educate people, to care about the incredible creatures we share this planet with. That education, we hope, will help them come to care about them and their wild brethren as we do, and that in that caring, we can help save them. Ladies and gentlemen, I come here today not in anger, although I am so very angry. I come here to share what it is we do and to try to put a human face on who we are. The Erie Zoo is a 100-year-old community resource that we should all be so proud of, and it's at risk of being lost. Not only would that be devastating for our animals and staff, but it would also create such an unfillable void in Erie. And you, unfortunately, are a part of what is creating that risk that we are facing. Simply put, please, please, please help our zoo. We do so much of this almost completely on our own, and we can't any longer. And we're asking for your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Council. My name is Chanel, and I'm here today as a concerned resident of Erie. On July 2nd, 2025, Marcello Woodard was shot and killed by a Pennsylvania State Parole officer here in our own city. It's been over a month, and the officer's name has not been released. And I'm under the impression that despite the state passing legislation in 2023 to allow parole agents to wear body cameras, no body cam footage exists because our legislators have not prioritized funding body cameras. I want to be clear, I'm not here demanding charges. I understand you're not in charge of that. However, I am here asking for you to advocate on our behalf to demand for transparency on this case. The public has the right to know who this officer is. We have the right to know if they have a history of misconduct. These are not unrealistic requests. They're standard in a case involving deadly force. The parole officer is a public servant paid with public dollars. If a civilian had fired 5 shots into a car, their name would be released immediately. They would have no privacy. They would have no security, nowhere to hide from, especially in today's day and age with social media. There is no accountability being held or shown when it comes to this officer. Why is the law enforcement being held to a lower standard of transparency and scrutiny than the community they police? This type of silence doesn't feel safe. It feels like it's shielding somebody from public scrutiny, and it erodes our trust in institutions that are necessary for us to have faith in. I urge council to call on the DA again, as well as the Department of Corrections and the State Police, to release this officer's name and disciplinary record. And let me say this as well. Erie, as we all know, is the largest swing county in a swing state. What happens here matters. Eyes are on Erie. Let's show them we value transparency and accountability, not secrecy and silence. Thank you for this opportunity to speak and share my thoughts and feelings on the situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carmen, and I initially came here just to silently support with the transfer to Erie Vents for the zoo. And I wanted to now speak as someone, and I'm from Mill Creek, and I grew up with the zoo. And something that I wanted to bring forth is the argument of pathos, and from someone who has been irrevocably changed from my experiences as a young kid to go outside and see the animals and be someone that got to live in the community. And I mean, they talk about like what the zoo does for people in the community and what it can offer and the education of it. And I'm an example of someone who went through that would go through school events to visit the zoo when I was younger. And something that I really believe is that this is a day more than any other, that we need to support going outside and having real experiences in a day of social media. And the best way, one of the best ways we can do that to educate on stuff in ecological sciences and animals is to go to the zoo. And having kids to have this educational resource is really important. I have a friend who teaches at the zoo, and he talks about how these kids, you know, it's always an adventure, and it's always learning something new, and it's fun, and it's fresh. And I believe children deserve opportunities like this that's secondary to school to keep growing who they are and find opportunities and jobs to better serve nature and the education of the next generation. And, you know, I came here as a staunch supporter of one of our zookeepers, and I think it's important that also that the people working for the zoo and providing these really ample opportunities for these kids and these adults should also have better facilities and better pay, and I believe that every single one of them deserve better for what they do for this community and what they do for people that, you know, was me, and hopefully the people that'll be the next group. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Deontay Cooley. I'm a lifelong Erie resident. It's great to see so many people here to advocate for the zoo, and I also agree that based on the history of Erie events and the things that they've been doing, that it should be transferred to them. But that is not why I'm here to speak today. I'm here as a continuation from the Marcella Woodard killing. On July 2nd, Marcella Woodard was shot and killed by allegedly his parole agent, and that is a mile and a half from the zoo. On July 16th, a bunch of people came down here to address City Council to speak to our concerns or for the lack of presence, appearance, or whatever the case may be. On July 24th, a statement was released to the district attorney, to the governor, as well as to the Pennsylvania State Police by City Council, but we have yet to hear any responses or to know if you all have received any responses. I'll say for myself, because I don't speak for anybody else, I feel ignored. I feel disrespected. As Chanel came up here and said before, had this not been an officer of the law, the name would have been released. We appreciate the letters, but that's not enough, in my opinion. Everybody has friends. Everybody has relationships. There are even people in this room who can advocate for justice for the murder of Marcella Woodard. There are people who can say, we're not getting enough information because regardless of the situation, as I've said last time, there's a killer on the loose in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania, and that individual is being protected. There are people who are aware of who this person is. There are people who are aware of what took place, and we are not allowing our public to know what is going on. Again, I know that law does not happen here. I know that the DA does not work out of this office. I know that the police is not overseeing the situation. So I come here again today to ask for advocacy, for support for our cause, because we are seeking justice. Every single person who is in this room, in front of me and behind me, has connections, has resources, has a platform, has a voice that they can use. I heard people come up here and advocate for animals. I heard people come up here and advocate for, the zoo. I've read people advocate for a golf course, for land, the city owning, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to murder or somebody being killed, this is probably the third time that I've been here in the course of the last year where 3 different murders have taken place, and it happens, and then it goes away. There was a young man that was killed on 31st Street. It happened, it went away. There was a young lady that was killed on 19th Street. It happened, it went away. Now we have a man who was killed by his parole agent. It happened, and it seems as though it is going to go away again. This is unfortunate. This is not fair to us. And again, the district attorney is elected. She's not a politician, but she is elected. It is her job to work for the people. She is the attorney of the people. She is also the attorney of anybody who lives in the city of Erie. Every single person who is sitting on this council lives in the city of Erie. So what we are asking, and we're going to continue to ask, is for you all to apply pressure to get some names released so that we can get some information so we can at least feel safe. And then after that, we'll push forward with that. But at this point, it's rude, it's insulting, it's disrespectful, and I'm not sure if legally she can't release that name or that information. And if that's the case, then maybe we need to talk about policies that need to be changed. Because right now, the state of Pennsylvania is protecting and hiding a murderer. Right now, the district attorney for Erie County is protecting and hiding a murderer. I'm not sure if the police have any involvement, but there was no arrest for the individual who shot and killed Marcella Woodard. His name has been all over the news. His face has been all over the news. I've seen his criminal record in the comment section of the Erie News Now. People are blasting and posting this information. Again, we have yet to know the parole agent's name released to the public. We have yet to know his record as far as why he transferred from Albion to parole. There have been complaints of people in the community as far as being afraid to check in with their parole agent. People don't want to go to the parole agent's office. They don't want parole agents coming to their house. I am aware that Erie County Probation is no longer sending agents out into the field, which is appreciated. But at this point, it's getting to the point to where it's getting quiet, and this one is going to seem like it's going to be swept under the rug like the last 2 murders because we're not getting anything. We're not hearing anything. We don't have help. We don't have resources. People are out there screaming. People are out there upset. You see stuff all over social media, and we don't even have any information as far as right or wrong, what you all should be doing or what you all should not be doing. Nobody is speaking to us as far as guidance, as far as advocacy, as far as what should happen next on a public level. We've received we've received emails from, some of our council members. We've received text messages, inboxes from some of our council members, and we definitely appreciate that. What we need is for more advocacy. We need more support. We need the people to be louder. Talk to your friends, talk to your resources in every platform and every avenue that you have, because I know that I won't be quiet, and I'm working with a group of individuals who are not going to be quiet and go anywhere until it's justice for Cello. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Council, President Witherspoon, all of you brave, daring, crazy people who put yourselves on the line to publicly serve as a city councilman and controller, and even Mr. Betsa, who often takes a lot of ridicule as well. My name is Curtis Jones, and I say all that as a former city council member. I'm standing here, though, in my professional capacity as a member of the team of the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership, but this is very challenging because there are multiple things going on in my head related to some things that were just mentioned, some things are related to the zoo, but I have to try and stay and keep my professional hat on in this moment. As I've said, I'm here standing representing the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership, and we are in support of, first of all, the zoo and every other amenity connected to this conversation and dialogue around the zoo and other public space amenities that are under question for sustainability and the ability to sustain them for our residents. I'm going off script before I jump on script, which, if you know me, that's kind of normally how it happens, right, Lori? I think we heard earlier that the Erie Zoo, although it's called the Erie Zoo and is housed geographically within the city of Erie limits, is a regional asset and a regional benefit. Any of us that live in Erie County would have to go, an hour and a half, 2 hours away to experience a zoo of any quality. And so I think, I don't know if I would have said it the same way that Mr. Brzezinski said it, but I absolutely agree that there is a value for all of our regional municipalities to invest. That is Curtis Jones, not the chamber. I wanted to make that very clear. That was my opinion as a former elected who realizes that many benefits and amenities are housed in the geography of the city proper, but the broader than the city benefits from them. And so let me get back on track so I can go back to my job and have one when I get finished. The Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership, on behalf of the Erie Regional Chamber of Growth Partnership, I'm standing here in full support of the resolution authorizing the city of Erie to go into an agreement with Erie Events regarding the ownership of the Erie Zoo and the associated public amenities. We commend the collaboration between city officials, Erie Events, and the zoo leadership in developing a thoughtful, community-focused solution to address the zoo's financial and operational challenges. The proposed agreement listed as item number 2 under new business on this agenda reflects the Chamber's shared commitment to preserving and strengthening one of Erie's most cherished recreational and cultural assets. It also recognizes that while the city does not have sustainable resources to commit to the Erie Zoo, this treasured cultural asset and the surrounding amenities are important regional assets and destinations that contribute to the unique and wonderful character of Northwest Pennsylvania. We are especially encouraged by several key elements of the proposal, including the continued preservation of the Erie Zoo and the J.C. Martin Golf Course, 9-hole golf course, Erie Events assuming the operation of the Flo Fabrizio Ice Rink, the inclusion of the $500,000 financial commitment specifically for the zoo, and also continued community and public use and management of the golf course, again, the public picnic grounds, the horseshoe courts, and the maintaining of accessibility for all residents of the city of Erie and the region of Northwest Pennsylvania. These provisions represent a strategic and sustainable path forward aligned with the Chamber's priorities of enhancing the quality of life, fostering responsibility in both public and private partnerships. Finally, we believe that this resolution is a critical step in securing long-term success of the Erie Zoo and its neighboring public spaces, while also protecting the public interest and the public access. For these reasons, we respectfully ask and urge the City Council of the City of Erie to approve the resolution that enables the city to move forward with the partnership in in the partnership, with Erie Events. That is a letter from the President and CEO of the Erie Regional Chamber, Mr. Brandon Mendoza. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention to this and so
Mr.
many other
President,
details.
how much money are you bringing us to the zoo?
All right, well.
Talk to the chamber. We need some.
Well, here's what I will say respectfully is that people have a bit of a misconception about the chamber because we play in the space of money and economic development, but we are a certified 501c3 ourselves, organizationally. But with that said, and in all seriousness, and I'll take this moment I always take another 30 seconds. These are the kind of partnerships, though, that moving forward, whether it be the city, Erie Events, other municipalities throughout the county, but also significant community partners like the Chamber who have access to other businesses and groups who have resources, who see the zoo as a resource. This is an opportunity. I think everything should be on the table and all partnerships should be considered, and the Chamber definitely is one of those partners that can help and add some value to the conversation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Good morning. My name is Patty Williams. I have spoken to this group before. I've also exchanged emails with City Council on this topic, the zoo, which is the issue of the day, it seems. I live near the zoo. I'm also an occasional volunteer at the zoo. And I do appreciate the responses that I received from Ms. Schaaf and Dr. Titus in the phone conversation that I had with Mr. Nelson about this issue. I've watched the October 2024 study session video. It seemed that those who were in attendance were aware and recognized the importance and the urgency of the zoo. I hope that you all can remember some of that. If not, it is on YouTube because I found it. But now, 10 months later, the time is for action. It seems that this issue of not sufficient funding for the zoo has been known for a while, but now there has to be some action. So I am strongly encouraging you to agree to the Erie Events proposal because you can be known as the administration who saved the zoo, and we can all truly celebrate the centennial of the zoo. So thank you for your time. Good day.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is David Uhlig. I live on Myrtle Street in the city of Erie. Thank you for taking action to resolve the uncertainty surrounding continued operation of the Erie Zoo. This uncertainty has stressed the staff and the entire organization and forced the Erie Zoological Society to serve a notice of termination of an agreement between the society and the city that has been in place since 1964. A no vote on both resolutions would mean essentially the end of the zoo. The first resolution on the agenda reinforces your commitment to the zoo, which you publicly stated with a unanimous vote on July 2nd, 2025. However, it does not address all the needs of the zoo, which were discussed during the study session held in October 2024, and does not provide the support needed to sustain the zoo long-term. The second resolution to partner with Erie Events addresses all the needs of the zoo and every concern previously raised by the administration and City Council. It provides regional support for the regional asset. It strengthens the partnership with Erie Events, which has been successful in upgrading and managing the Warner, UPMC Park, and Erie Insurance Arena. It recognizes the need to create a master plan for the entire 96 acres and upgrade the entire campus, that entire area, including the entire Glenwood entrance to the city, which was highlighted in the Erie Refocus study, which I'm sure you all remember. I quote from that, "Regional assets anchor the Glenwood area and bring visitors to the city, making it a critical impression-forming area for the city. Make the most of a key asset by keeping maintenance of the areas and assets around Glenwood Park Avenue at a very high level," end quote. We need to continue to activate that Erie Refocus study. This agreement, the second resolution, does all this without asking for funding from the city. Remember, the city would continue to have representatives on the board of the Erie Events who are selected and approved by the city administration and council. So I strongly urge you to choose the forward-looking approach to saving the Erie Zoo and upgrading the entire 96-acre parcel by voting yes on the second resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Zachary Sharif. I live in the city of Erie. First and foremost, I was sitting out here listening, so I support the zoo. I've been a resident in Erie for over 30 years. As a new American, I remember one of the first visits that we made was to the Erie Zoo and how vital it is to our city. It's a small zoo, but it attracts a lot of people. So I support everybody behind me, whatever is best for our zoo, to save our zoo. Secondly, I'm here for, as far as the justice for Marcello. First of all, I appreciate City Council putting a letter together and sending out and trying to get answers. And often I just want to discuss what justice means. In a broader sense, it refers to principle of fairness, moral righteousness that guides how individuals in society treat one another. For everyone in humanity, justice often embodies several core ideas. Fair treatment, ensuring that all people are treated equally without bias, regardless of their race, background, gender, or status. As Deontay and others mentioned previously, justice looks different when there's different categories. If individuals commit a crime, they're quickly charged, depending on what the crime is, and they're arrested. Here we have, I'm not here to determine all the legality, but we have somebody who, it was ruled a homicide, who killed somebody, and they're still roaming around. And this also, and I'll go to the second part, equality of rights, guaranteeing that everyone has access to basic rights, opportunities such as safety, education, and freedom, accountability, holding individuals, institutions responsible for their actions individually, especially when they cause harm or injustice. Here we have somebody who caused the harm and a lot of people are hurting. I'm really proud of our city right now because people are handling this very well. We've seen what happened nationally. Things can go sideways and people can only wait so long and, pressure busts pipes. So again, I'm just here as an advocating for Marcello because I just want to correlate because I had a brother who's incarcerated. He was assaulted by a CO and they hid that, and they denied information and all that, and it just came out. The officer that CO turned his camera off while he assaulted my brother. The county fired that individual. They know what he did, but he just got slapped on the wrist. But my brother was charged with all these different things because he was, not complying or whatever. So justice does not look right for certain people. So once again, I'm just hoping that, the people, the right people start giving information. Transparency matters, and people in our city are losing hope. Here we're trying to build a relationship between law enforcement and citizens. And I support anybody who knows me. I work with law enforcement. I'm in the community. I serve in the Erie School Board. But people are hurting. So I'm just here for justice for Marcello. And also, let's continue to save our zoo. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Michael Woodard's my name. I'm here for two reasons. First reason would be for Marcello Woodard, which you all understand is going on in the city. I'm here to ask for support to his family. This is our tax dollars that these individuals, murderers, are out on, and we're asking that some of that money that's been distributed to their pockets daily, hourly, monthly, weekly, as we have my cousin that is dead at this point in time, can some of this money be submitted to the family on the burial and help support the family? This is basically a community thing at this point in time. Also, when we say that there is a right to know, that's what we've been looking for. if anybody can push forward for that matter at this point in time, it's something that we're looking for. We are in a city where Erie, Pennsylvania, we all supposed to be a community here, and the news is flooded. Social media is flooded. Deontay Cooley is Craig Woodard, there's multiple of us out there trying to get the message across. So I'm also here to ask, is there a possibility that at Celebrate Erie, can we have an awareness booth? That way we got people from different walks of life that are entering into our city can see what's going on. They can be able to get our hashtag for Justice for Cello pamphlets, take it back to maybe New York, maybe Ohio, or wherever they may be coming from, and be able to see, hey, is this really going on in Erie, Pennsylvania? We can get our voice across. And now I'll speak on the zoo briefly. I'm a contractor, so what I would like to see that even as being a kid, if you're in the city, in the inner city, if you're a child, we don't have those county animals that we can just go out and visit. Hey, mom, dad has these horses or these cows or these goats. This is the facility that we all can go to and take our children. You know, we don't have that support from outside. So my idea would probably downsize the zoo, keep the exotic animals, and probably put a community pond there, you know, so we all can commute at one point in time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Council. My name's John Whaley. I live at 447 Gordon Lane. I'm lucky enough to live by the zoo area. I live by the golf course. We've been members of the zoo, I believe, for 28 years continuously. We're members of the North Carolina Zoo. We did that so we get free memberships to other places. Went to the Pittsburgh Aviary last week. So we love conservation. Two of my daughters worked at the zoo. I had a lot of things to say, but you're further along in this process than I thought, and I'm very happy about that. I think the transfer to Erie Events has to happen and is a perfect idea. And I don't want to point fingers, but part of this, what I was going to say, is an indictment. If we don't learn from the past, we're doomed to repeat it. And so I didn't realize that the zoo came here 2 or 3 years ago asking for help. I was unaware there was a study session 10 months ago. So in a typical Erie fashion, we have watched a problem fester. We've done nothing about it. And I'm not blaming council because I really think it's the board of the zoo and the management of the zoo that really has much more responsibility here. But now here it is, like there was a threat of if we don't do something this week, you know, the zoo is going to close. And I really wish Erie would not do that. So in 2023 on the tax returns, the zoo showed a net income of $851,000. That was 2 years ago. So, and now today they are in much more dire straits. I'd love to know what happened. Your transfer talks about 96 acres. The county website says that the zoo property is 106 acres. So there's some discrepancy there. I'd like to know what that is. When I worked at the city back in, I don't even know when, 06, 07, we transferred the Erie Airport, a city-owned property, to the Airport Authority for $0. And back then I questioned, can't the Airport Authority go get a bond for $40 million and pay the taxpayer what they deserve for that property? So the same question comes up today. The assessed value of the 106 acres is $5.9 million. According to the Zoological Society's tax return, they have $14 million in assets. So are we going to transfer $6 to $14 million worth of assets for free to Erie Events? Is it possible Erie Events gets a bond, pays something for this property? I don't know. Marsh Street Garage is not mentioned. Back when the 38th Street was realigned, a tunnel was built, and the plan was the zoo was going to get Marsh Street. Politics became involved, and people didn't like other people, and that never happened. So the tunnel's there. I think the zoo deserves the Marsh Street property. I think they can use it. I think the things that happen in that facility can happen at French Street. Takes some effort, takes some work, but that was the plan. And I don't know Erie Events master plan, and yes, we'd love to see something, but if they got Marsh Street, they can move maintenance over there. Maybe they close the parking lot. They could really rejigger and have some more space. again, with a past. The Erie Zoological Society today has board members that have been on that board for 18 years. That's an Erie thing, okay? We need, and I think the board will be dissolved. I think the Zoological Society is going away, and I think Erie Events is going to handle that. But even the Erie Events Board, I would ask that those folks have term limits and time limits so you don't get the same insular thinking that never changes. The zoo is dependent on AGRA funding. They've gotten $2.4 million in the last decade. Will that continue? Would that be in jeopardy if Erie Events takes it over? I'm going to beg the news media to step up, all of them, the paper, the TV. We're going to make a deal with Spectrum. Instead of promoting and talking about a restaurant that closed and, oh, look, this place closed, and oh, the record shop one, can't they get more proactive and promote the zoo and work together to build awareness? The zoo has about 7,000 memberships that I know of. In a county with 110,000 households, that number is terribly low. It should be much higher. We have to support this zoo, and maybe people just need to learn more about it. So here's an indictment. So I belong to the zoo. We go all the time. I think that the memberships don't cost enough, to be honest. You need more money, you got to raise some prices. So I think the concessions, Erie Events will really have to look at the concessions. When are they open? What do they sell? I think it's a death spiral. They don't offer great stuff. Fewer people buy it. Please transfer to the Erie Events. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Morning, Council. Thank you for allowing this opportunity. My name is Brian Wagaman. I'm the CEO of Erie Federal Credit Union. I'm a board member on the Erie Zoo for 5 years, and I'm also a board member for the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership, community leader, and definitely a community and concerned citizen. I urge your immediate support for the transfer of the Erie Zoo to Erie Events. It's an essential move that represents the most viable and responsible path forward for securing the zoo's long-term financial health and community impact. Our zoo is more than a destination. It's an educational resource. It's a conservation partner and a cultural asset that strengthens our regional identity. Unfortunately, continued delays and inaction around this critical governance transition are accelerating the zoo's demise, jeopardizing not only its daily operations, but its ability to serve future generations. The current structure is simply unsustainable. Without decisive leadership and transfer to a modern, accountable, public authority framework, we risk losing a valuable institution that has served this community for 100 years. Other cities have demonstrated that transitioning regional assets to a public authority strengthens financial oversight. It attracts new funding sources and improves operational stability and invites deeper community collaboration. Each day this transaction is stalled, we miss out on opportunities to stabilize the zoo, rebuild public trust, and set our zoo on a course for long-term success. Today, I urge you to act. Support the transfer of Erie Zoo to Erie Events and help preserve this irreplaceable community asset. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Final. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, I would like to let you know that resolution number 1 has been pulled from the agenda. Lori?
Ordinances for final passage. Council file number 16547, official ordinance 57-2025, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $447,791.20 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue to provide for the expenditure thereof for the project. Funding is from PennDOT Transportation Alternate Program Grant. sponsored by Councilmember Titus, seconded by Councilmember Flores, that council file ordinance Bill number 16547, and now known as official file ordinance 57-2025, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon. City Council pass official file ordinance 57-2025, finally by yeas 7, nays 0. Ordinances for first reading. Council file number 16548, an ordinance amending Article 101 by adding subsection 101C, authorizing a referendum on the question of studying the existing form of government and considering the advisability of the adoption of an optional form of government or a home rule charter for the City of Erie. This ordinance repeals Ordinance 26-2025 and expands the scope of the governmental study. Sponsored by Councilmember Titus, seconded by Councilmember Nelson. The council file ordinance number 16548, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance 16548 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council file number 16549, an ordinance appropriating a sum of $23,200 of program income generated through the home program for the following home M17 projects. Sponsored by Councilmember Titus, seconded by Councilmember Flores, that council file ordinance number 16549, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance 16549 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Council file number 16550, an ordinance appropriating a sum of $950,000 from unappropriated and anticipated revenue and providing for the expenditure thereof. This is fiscal year 24-25 PCCD Violence Intervention Prevention Grant, sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Brzezinski. The council file ordinance 16550, and now known, it having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance 16550 by yeas 7, nays 0 on first reading. Okay, this takes us to new business. Again, number 1 has been pulled, failed to maintain a second sponsor.
New business?
Right, that's what we're calling for, is a motion to
Yeah.
move the balance for?
Move.
So a motion to move.
There's a motion to move the balance.
Any separations?
Number 2.
Any other separations? Any other separations? Moving the balance of the agenda, council members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, and Witherspoon. Council Resolution Number 2, sponsored by Councilmember Titus, seconded by Councilmember Schaaf. A resolution accepting the proposal of the Erie Events regarding operation of the Erie Zoo as generally described in the July 23, 2025 letter from Attorney James Walzak to City Solicitor Edward Betza. The zoo has experienced financial and operational hardships which have negatively impacted zoo operations. After meeting with the zoo and City of Erie officials, Erie Events has made a proposal in an attempt to assist the zoo. The proposal is summarized in a July 23, 2025 letter from Attorney James Walzak to City Solicitor Edward Betza. Erie City Council desires to accept this proposal and recommend approval to the mayor. Therefore, on the 6th day of August 2025, it is hereby resolved by City Council that the city accept proposal of Erie Events as generally described in the letter from James Walzak. The city's council acceptance is based on the following understandings. The city would transfer ownership of approximately 96 acres of land from the City of Erie to Erie Events. The property will be transferred by deed. The deed shall contain the following restrictions. Erie Events shall maintain a 9-hole golf course on the property. Erie Events shall maintain a zoo on the property. Erie Events may not sell or transfer ownership of any portion of the property without the approval of the City of Erie. If Erie Events fails to maintain a zoo and a 9-hole golf course on the property, ownership of the property shall revert back to the City of Erie. Erie Events will enter into a management agreement with the zoo. Erie Events will take over operation of the Flo Fabrizio ice rink. Erie Events will assume all responsibility for ensuring the property, including the zoo, the ice rink, and all other facilities on the 96 acres. Erie Events will assume all responsibility for payment of utilities, servicing the property, including the zoo, the ice rink, and all other facilities on the 96 acres. Erie Events would lease the portion of the property that is the J.C. Martin Golf Course to the city at no charge. The City of Erie will continue to operate the golf course. Erie Events would lease the property, a portion of the property that is the picnic grounds and horseshoe courts to the city at no charge. The City of Erie will continue to operate the picnic grounds and horseshoe courts. In addition to the above, Erie Events will provide an annual financial payment to the zoo in the amount of $500,000. Discussion?
Any discussion?
I would like to say something. I've been an educator for over 40 years. 4 years ago, my first grade class went to the zoo as we do every year. And always it is a very wonderful program, and we have a very joyful day learning. I'm always surprised that there's always a child or two that has never been to the zoo. And this goes along with Presque Isle, too. We have so many wonderful assets in our area that should be open to everyone who is able to go. As was mentioned earlier, the Sundays from 3 to 5 are free times at the zoo. And that's all you basically need is 2 hours to walk through it. So I thank all the people who spoke today. I am blessed that we have had the zoo for 100 years. And I really believe it does take a community collaboration, as has been mentioned. And so all of our surrounding municipalities really should invest in the zoo as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
First off, when anything good does happen, it's because of collaboration. And working together with Double T, it was kind of funny because he was liaison to the zoo, I was liaison to Erie Events, and both of us had the concern of the city. We worked hard. It wasn't we'll decide this today. We started back in October of '24, and I don't know how many hours of meetings we had. Suffice it to say, there were many of them. The bottom line is, we had to come to some kind of conclusion. I asked for a lot of financial details. I finally got them. And I also asked for common sense here. You know, the city of Erie is not in great shape financially. And it's not going to be for a while. One of the first things we have to do is unload things that may cause us to have to spend more money. And as much as we love the zoo, it's not something that we should be running. Let's give it to the pros. And that's why I think ultimately we came up with this decision. We pulled the other proposal because $500,000 coming from the city is not going to solve anything. The Erie Events folks have to get in there and from top to bottom get the job done. And you folks that worked for the Erie Zoo and came here with your hearts on your shoulders, I love you, but who's taking care of the animals? Thank you very much. I think I'm ready for the vote. Somebody else.
I just wanted to comment that the Erie Zoo is a very big asset for the city, but as we can see with all the speakers who came, 11 non-city residents came to spoke in favor of saving the zoo, and then we had 4 city residents. It is a regional asset, and the county should help fund the zoo, and we should ask those community relations to make sure that they're contributing as well. The burden has come on the city, and we haven't been able to fulfill the needs, and that is why we are in the situation that we're currently in. But we know that everyone uses the zoo, and everyone outside of the city makes sure that they are able to, you know, enjoy the amenities of the city. And I think it's going to be coming time that we find ways to make sure that everyone's paying their fair share for these amenities to maintain themselves. So I'm happy that we're able to, you know, move in the right direction, but there's going to be additional conversations coming in the future months and years to see what else we can do, because there's a definite need. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to add on that we've all been elected to do various roles, but the biggest one is putting the city at the center of all decisions that we make. And I think the most fiscally responsible, given all the things that we know that we are facing as a city, and what we have been elected to do in our core mission as a city, is public safety and making sure that we're able to provide public works and the services that we do. I stand, you know, behind the zoo and what the zoo has stood for, and I also know that we are in no position to be able to meet the zoo's needs, nor should we try. We were elected to do and to serve and meet other capacities. I do not think Erie Events has an easy row ahead of them on this. There's still many conversations that we need to have to make sure that we are protecting the assets that are city-owned right now and city residents, that's our role to do. But I think that this resolution puts us in the best position to do that, and that this is step one. There are still so many other things that we need to go through after this one, but I'm glad that we finally have reached this point. And now I'll stop.
Thank you very much. Mo, anything? No? My position initially was to vote no, because I don't believe in giving up land and getting nothing for my land. However, well, let me say this. When I worked for Penelec, I was responsible for 14 counties, 22 years. Then I went to the State Auditor General for 8 years, responsible for 14 counties. So I know quite a few politicians in all 14 counties and residents. I don't believe that this is a good business deal from a business perspective. However, listening to my colleagues, listening to my citizens, especially those 2 youngsters, I will support it with my colleagues. I believe they are looking at it in a different aspect than I did. and there is no one that goes into a business without a little hesitancy. I call for the vote.
Members Brzezinski,
Yes.
Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, Troop, Witherspoon. Resolution passes, yeas 7, nays 0. Council
Send money.
President, this takes us to committee reports.
Thank you. We'll start with Councilwoman Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. President. I attended Amera Masala, which is a multicultural event that was held July 19th. I like to help out with that every year because it truly is a all-person event for anybody and everybody right here at Perry Square. I attended the Tow and Review Board, as I am on the board for that, and anyone can bring up their complaint as long as they first pay their ticket. I will be attending the board meeting for Parking Authority coming up next week. I attended the Central City Neighborhood Watch, and I am thankful to all the people who run neighborhood watches and are involved with neighborhood watches in any way. That's truly Americana at its best, because it starts with your neighborhood, your family. I went for a walkthrough at the Miller Building, even though I had been there before. Thank you to Chief Trott. And I am looking forward to the building to have its love and care taken care of, so it will be used with both the fire and the police, and it'll be a great community asset for that neighborhood. I attended the birthday of Marcella Woodard at County Courthouse outside, and the land bank, and I met with Matthew Falcone, our historic preservation person. I am thankful for all his expertise that he brings to the city to restore and promote our history in the city of Erie through building and architecture. I attended Take Back the Site with all the different sisters in our community, and thank you, Mayor Joe, for attending that as well. There was a prayer service there this past Sunday at the Great Baptist Church there, which I attended. I am enjoying the sounds of summer. I attended the Ostro Apartments and the Soldiers and Sailors Home, and the people who reside and the community are blessed to have such great musicians to help us relieve our stress through music. I helped at the Our West Bayfront Church of the Covenant, feeding 200 people, which is more than they've ever had on their Sunday suppers program. So I am so thankful to all of the volunteers who help feed our community on a daily basis, providing food and shelter for them. I visited the Spoons Court and saw the fifth graders and the sixth graders play, and once again, I am thankful to Mr. Witherspoon and all of his team. Again, it takes a community and a village and all the hardworking, dedicated professionals or volunteers who are able to work with the youth. It's not easy. You have to have clearances. You have to really be committed. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to do this for one game and walk away with it. It's definitely a summertime and year-round commitment to continually support and plan. National Night Out was very nice with excellent weather. I was at the Booker T, the Mercy Center, the East Middle School at Wayne Park, East Bayfront, 6th and Parade, and the Our West Bayfront at Gridley Park. I met Dr. Gibbs, the new superintendent for the Erie School District. It was very nice to meet her, and I spoke with some community members and firefighters, etc. Very thankful again to our community collaborators. Again, it does take a village, and everyone is involved with these things, not just for the day of the event, but again, year-around planning. And thankful for the 8 Great Tuesdays. I went to the 814 concert at Nickel Plate Mills in the backyard there, and Peach Freedom had created a song for Marcello Woodard, which they played, and that was very moving as well. I'm thankful for the Downtown Partnership on their Thursdays here at Perry Square, and again, thank you for our community, Erie, Pennsylvania. We're working hard, and we're going to have a good rest of the summer, hopefully, too. Thank you.
Mr. President, I don't have anything to report for my committee responsibilities. As you know, I am an administrator with the Erie's Public Schools, and a lot of the meetings happen during the day, so it's very, and as an administrator, we're still at work full-time during the summer. You know, as the teachers, they do have off. We don't get that time off, so I do reach out to them via email. I don't have any, and they indicated there was nothing to report at this time, but I do want to kind of follow up some of the things that Kathy, Ms. Schaaf said. I attended several events, participated in some also. Erie Jazz and Blues Fest was really, really nice. Really great event, brings our community together. Want to, give those people credit for the great event that they are continuing to put on here. The Mara Masala Festival, Lynn Johnson, celebrating diversity. It's a really nice festival. I also want to encourage the people who put on the 814 Save Our Youth event for the first time at Liberty Park. Just want to encourage them to continue to, don't be discouraged. Just, it takes time. Also attended several and participated in several of the 814 concerts. Those have been really nice event on Sundays put on by the city. Attended National Night Out last night. That was really nice. United Way and other organizations did a great job with that. Also, definitely hearing the voices of the family and the friends and the community of Marcello Woodard. As a child living on Glendale Avenue, Miss Woodard, Mr. Woodard, which would be the grandparents of Marcello, we live right across the street from them. So I, know the family personally. Just continuing to hear their voices. I couldn't imagine having something like that happen to my family. I always say, I worry about my kids more now that they're adults than when they were kids. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. When they're kids, I knew where they were at all times, knew what they were doing at all times, but now they're adults, I can't really tell them what to do, so it's like, I worry about them more. Didn't know that would happen, but that's how it is. I give them credit for continuing to push for Marcello, and just know that this really affects our whole community, not just the family and friends. Everybody in our city definitely feels this, and the outcome or whatever could really, affect our community as a whole. So we just really feel the situation. Also want to announce on a personal note, last thing is that an event that I've been hosting for the last 15 years, it's called Blues for Shoes. I am a local musician, so I get together with other musicians and we raise money for school supplies for youth. We've been doing that for about 15 years. This year is going to be August 31st at the Big Bar. We'll start at 3 o'clock. And all the money raised, nobody takes a dime for it. And we take all the money and we purchase school supplies and we give them free to the community. So that'll be August 31st that we'll be doing that at the Big Bar. Thanks, that's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Councilman Brzezinski.
What can I say after these two epistles? Very good. Anyway, as liaison to the different places here, always a good story when you talk about the Port Authority. If you have been walking down there, you see these 30 feet long blades that have been coming in by ship to our port. Those things are huge. They're unbelievable. But that being said, the port is also working on expanding the areas that they have so that we can get even more shipments coming in. The collaboration with 8th Grade Tuesdays has been fantastic. Erie Events shows its ability to logistically make things happen smoothly. Don't forget the water taxi. If you want to take a nice view of Presque Isle and sometimes Canada when it's not smoky out there, take a walk down to the dock and go up in that little cylinder they call the, what do they call that? Bicentennial Tower?
Brzezinski Tower.
Brzezinski Tunnel. Anyway, that make sure I want to get everything that I did. Don't forget the Seawolves are back in town. In fact, they're playing pretty soon today. A lot of teams have a lot of talent, but the young talent coming up with our Tigers, our Seawolves, going to be second to none. You're gonna like these kids that are up here. They're really solid ball players. My sweatshirt was my Tiger sweatshirt, but I brought it because you never know what the temperature is in here. In the morning, sometimes it's pretty cold. Final thing to Michael sitting out there. Michael, don't give up the fight. I get some laughs, but I was totally serious when I said, we still don't know who shot Kennedy because they cover stuff up. Quietly but strongly, demand answers because we deserve those answers. So stick with it, kiddo. That's all I have. Thank you. And thanks all the zoo background.
All right. I'll jump right into my liaison reports here around EMTA. So EMTA this month did not have a public meeting. They had new board members join, so they used this month's meeting to do a training and retreat style. I'm sorry, that was in July. So the August meeting is August 25th. Erie Land Bank met on the 21st of July. The next meeting is on August 18th. They're currently in the process of updating. They've got new policies they're putting into place as a result of the audit. They also are making the report, the financial report that they're giving out, just a little bit more transparent, so it's easier for individuals to see the work that is being done. And the land bank has shifted quite a bit recently, and they're moving properties a little quicker. And so just to make sure that that's reflected better, so the public can see the great work that's happening with the Erie Land Bank. I want to thank my colleagues and everybody else who's been here to talk about the zoo. This has been a very heavy lift. It's been an ongoing conversation, and to know that we really are we're still in the beginning phases of what's going to happen next. So there's still a lot more conversations to come. And I want to end on this. It's been over a month since Marcello was murdered, and the only constant and consistent message that has been given back to the community is to be patient. To say I'm heartbroken is an understatement. This is a deep pain, and it's not a pain that's going to go away. And every day with no answer further erodes the trust. And I understand that there is due process, but it does not absolve us of the responsibility to be transparent and responsive. Silence is not justice, and in this situation, silence is very dangerous. When we don't have answers, that creates more harm in the community, and it is a form of negligence. I understand that there is, again, legalities, and there's things that can be shared and things that cannot be shared. But the process in and of itself, why it is taking so long, where things are, should absolutely be being shared with the public so that there is a better understanding of what is happening. And when we can better understand what is happening, we reduce the harm that is going to perpetuate through this. So I'm asking again the investigative bodies to please provide clear public transparency, timelines, and some regular updates. The community deserves the honesty and accountability, and Erie deserves leadership that is centered in equity and puts people first. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Okay, thank you. I just have a few things to say. I wanted to mention the horrible accident that happened yesterday. It was a 3-vehicle accident that 5 people are hurt, and it happened down part of West 26th Street and I-79, so that intersection right there was a really bad vehicle accident. I know that that is a dangerous intersection, and I know a lot of people have brought concerns in the past. I hate that we always wait until the result of a death or an incident in which we act. So hopefully this is something that's on other people's radars, because the pictures and the little bit of news that I seen yesterday was very dangerous. Those vehicles were destroyed. So I don't know the speeds, I don't know the force. It's just a scary situation, and I know that Erie drivers are a little speed happy. I am guilty of it myself sometimes, and I have to remind myself, I don't need to be the cause of a family's trauma. So just be cautious. We're in vehicles. We can take our time. It's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in the city if people don't remember. So that's one thing. I also wanted to give my sympathy to the family and the community members who are still waiting for justice for Cello. I do know that asking for patience and transparency is an alarming thing. My brother is a person who was released from state prison, who is a parolee, and who did have both of those gentlemen as his parole officers. So it is terrifying to know that, and to conversate with him and discuss interactions with these individuals, and him tell me that, sometimes they can be a little bit more forceful and not as polite, but eventually they do, respect you after they see what you're about, whatever that means. So that was something that, I wanted to share, that we do want transparency, we do want to know what happened, and we are pushing for future parole officers to be wearing the body cams that legislatively they're required to wear. We just might not have the funding because of whatever happened to it. Not sure. Questions need to be asked. So those are the areas. I also wanted to mention that I did attend the first annual Young Nefs versus Unks basketball tournament on July 26th. I didn't stay for the whole thing, but I was there for maybe about 3 hours because I had another engagement. But it was a nice turn of community, seeing the young people and the young men in the community stepping up and, supporting these young men. So hopefully we can see more of that at Spoon's basketball court in the future, because that's where they held it over on the east side. And then I did attend the baseball game last Saturday, was it? Or the 26th. They were giving away 1,500 replica championship rings, so that's the second time they've done that. So our Seawolves are 2-time champions as of the last 2 years, and they've definitely tried to encourage fan support, and just to see the young kids catch balls and get signatures is just, that is an experience that I don't think enough people in our city actually get to experience. So I want to push for our city residents to actually use our baseball field and, use the amenities that we offer. Our baseball team is a great team to get involved with. not every community has a minor league baseball that they can take their family to. So I'm half Mexican, and baseball is really important to our community. So I love Dia de la Copa, and I love when we do Dia de la Diversión, where they talk and they're all in Spanish. So definitely something for us to look into. But as summer winds down, people just use the amenities and make sure you're enjoying them, and be safe, be cautious, be alert for other community members, because as I stated, we do not need to be the cause of another family's trauma and tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Councilman Nelson still with us?
He said he was on Zoom.
He was earlier. I think he got off at
Oh, he's
committee
gone?
reports.
Okay.
Nothing to report, he obviously.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Excuse me, I did forget one lighthearted thing. I attended the Guns N' Hoses game, and I have never gone before, and it's presented through NAMI, and they had tables set up of different organizations with mental health and suicide prevention, and it's a free game. Well, the firefighters won the game by like one run. It was like 38-39. And I was with a friend, and we were going to leave at the 6th inning because the firefighters or the police were losing so badly. It was just like one of those games where you're the 11th run and you think they're going to win. Well, we went to the restroom and we were talking a little bit, and lo and behold, the police scored 14 runs in that inning, so we had to watch the rest of the game. And it was really interesting. Fun for everyone.
Thank you. I believe the situation with Cello, the longer we wait for information, the more suspicious the outcome becomes in many minds. I'm hopeful that the attorneys that's representing the family is pushing to get information to share with the community. As said by one of the presenters today, the longer you wait, the more restless the community gets. As indicated and stated by Dr. Tyler, transparency is important. We cannot sweep this one under the rug. Cannot. Matter of fact, it will not die until answers are given. Whether we agree with the answers or not, give us something. And those of us who may have contacts, make that call. That's all it is a phone call to say, what's the holdup? Can you give us something? That is very, very important. It was also stated at another meeting, the summer is not over yet, and it's still hot, and we aren't talking about the heat. My second point, I want to thank the Erie Police Department for being at the basketball court this entire summer. We only had one incident, and they were on target and stopped it before it really took place. And it had nothing to do with basketball. It had something to do with Facebook. He said, she said. And they said, well, if you don't like it, so-and-so and so-and-so, meet me at Spoons Court. They even put a time down, meet me at Spoons Court at 7 o'clock. And after the 15, 16-year-old game, one crew got off their bleachers and they headed. And the police notified me and said, Mel, we're going to have a problem. So my security crew was walking toward the crowd. And I'll tell you, Erie Police Department was right on target. And we stopped it before it started. So folks, don't let Facebook cause you to get in problem. We put signs up this year, and it says, smile, you're on camera. I don't know if they thought we were just putting signs up or not, but we have cameras, and we know who started what. And we'll be contacting those individuals because my security team recognized everyone. Our league is over. We had championship games last Friday, and we plan on doing something special down at the Bayfront. And I'll let you know what that is at either next meeting or through the media, not Facebook. Go on Spoons League and you'll see what we plan on doing for the community. Administration.
Good morning, everyone. Just a few things. So many of us attended National Night Out last night. I saw a lot of you out, and we had a lot of our firefighters and police officers out as well. It's one of the best nights of the year that showcases the community coming together, and it was a really wonderful afternoon and evening. I want to remind everyone the final 814 concert series is this Sunday, August 10th. This one will be at Wayne Park at 6th and East Avenue, and it will feature Eric Brewer and friends, and we'll have a couple of food trucks there, ILP Snack Shack and El Ibarito Food Trailer. And then Monday, August 11th at 7 p.m. will be the last Sounds of Summer. It will be at Curry Shell Apartments at 3909 Shaper Avenue at 7 p.m. with the Presque Isle Saxophone Quartet. And then everything will culminate and celebrate Erie next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, whether we're ready or not. The cafe board has done a great job of curating artists and performers and musicians from all over the city to perform. We'll have 70-plus bands and other musical performances, dancers. And then for the headlining acts, on Friday, August 15th, we've had to switch it up because of touring schedules, and Friday will actually be country night. We have Matt Texter and the One Shots and Erie native Brenna Bone opening for Russell Dickerson. On Saturday, August 16th, Reminiscent and Bachata Rebelde will open for Gym Class Heroes. And then on Sunday, the Erie All-Stars will perform hits from the Beatles, and Bob, an interpretation of Dylan, and Preach Freedom and Connect will open. So we're looking forward to a weekend where we can all come together and celebrate our community. I also want to remind everybody that Tuesday, August 12th, is Erie Gives Day. For those of you who participate in that, you can find more information on all the nonprofits that are interested in your money at eriegives.org from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And finally, two things. I want to remind everybody that the Erie Parks and Rec Youth Survey is available for people to complete online. They can go to surveymonkey.com/r/Erie Outside for children to answer what their priorities are for Erie's city-owned parks. And then finally, I just want to give a quick word to say that we will continue to advocate for justice for Marcella Woodard and to get answers into the timeline, the investigative process. Those conversations do continue behind the scenes. I know many of us have made those phone calls and are working behind the scenes to get answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a report? Here.
Actually, I do. We finished up the single audits for police, fire, and O&E, and those were all with no findings, and the state completed their state audit for the pension plan, and there were also no findings on that report also. And then next week, we have an investment committee meeting for the pension plans and the actual quarterly meeting, so we'll see how our funds have been doing. That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'd like to offer our condolences to Renee Lamus. It's the loss of her father. Any other discussion? Any other business? This meeting is adjourned.
City Council adjourns at 11:03 a.m. Members Witherspoon, Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Titus, and Troop.